those who sold the religious card in probably seeking power, because I think the another thing, this one is just an opinion, another thing that got a lot of them, right? That got a lot of them pretty much hooked on that promise was because, as some said, it said because Tinubu appeared like somebody that was probably going to die soon. And if that should happen, their calculation then was Shitty Man will be a president, right? And when Shitty Man becomes president, the power returns back to northern Nigeria. Now, all of that prediction, all of that expectation have now gone to the wind or gone with the wind. So the desperation is now on a steroid. So when Tinubu started this campaign for, when he started this campaign for this tax, well, it started with removal of subsidy. Then it got to that part of the tax reform, which has triggered so much to the point that they are now threatening their own lawmakers from northern Nigeria. Here is one of them.
I heard somebody saying that we are doing this because of you northerners. I was disappointed because why will you be insisting on doing something in my favor that I don't want? On what grounds? Have I spoken the mind of the Northeast Region members? Thank you. I heard somebody saying that we are doing this because of you northerners. I was disappointed because why will you be insisting on doing something in my favor that I don't want? On what grounds? Have I spoken the mind of the Northeast Region members? Thank you.
I was in the National Assembly. So let me give you this information, just for the sake of education, okay? This information is important. Because of the corruption of Nigeria, right? Nigeria currently have 36 states. And ignorance is not a bliss. So somebody has been running mad in the comments. I mean, you said that lied. Your ignorance can be a little bit, can make you pretty much like so stupid beyond anything. But for the sake of our listeners, out of 36 states in Nigeria, right? 24 of them, it's only 12 states in Nigeria that can possibly survive without the federal allocation, the monthly federal allocation. Then plus Abuja, making it 13. 24 of Nigerian states, they would die naturally if they don't give them money from Abuja. And it's all going to start with the reduction in how much they get. To start with, it will start with the reduction in what they get. And you know something? Because all these states, they are like a mini central government too, where their governors are always living like kings. So I don't know where you come from. I can give you the names of these states that will never survive. Now you, in your own ignorance, because education in Nigeria is worthless, it's useless to some of you, though. So I am not going to be too surprised. But for the sake of my listeners, let me give you some of these names. In fact, it is actually not 12, it's 11 states that will survive, that can survive to some extent without the federal government allocation, without sharing of that money they do every month. So I'll give you some here. You know, states like Bayelsa, despite the massive oil money they give to them, without that allocation every month, Bayelsa would die a natural death. I was even wrong to actually think that Bayelsa will survive. Ondo State is oil producing state. Ondo State would die a natural death. without federal allocation. Yobe, Sokoto, Taraba, Plateau, Oyo State, Oyo, that big Oyo, would die a natural death without federal allocation in Yoruba land. Niger, Nasarawa, Kogi, Kebbi, Katsina, Jigawa, Gombe, Ekiti, Ebonyi, Borno, Benue, Bauchi, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Abia, and Delta. You see, Delta was supposed to be a rich state, because of their oil, they would die a natural death without the federal allocation. So wherever you come from, or any exaggeration you are giving to yourself, you better kind of like read and see the mess they have made of some of your states by these different rogues. So the moment Tinubu said tax return nonsense and all of that is done, from southern part of Nigeria, let me give you the names again, including the middle belt part of Nigeria. Bayelsa, oil producing states. Ondo, Oyo, on Ekiti, Ebonyi, Abia State, Cross River State, Akwa Ibom State, Delta State, they would die a natural death. So I don't know what you are telling yourselves. So some of you that think that it is only the northern Nigeria that is a bit of a parasite on this national money. No, it's not just them. Yeah, you can know about them, right? But there are lazy states in southern part of Nigeria, mismanaged beyond what you can even imagine. So if you don't know that before now, maybe you do now. And you can even research that. You can search that yourself. Out of 36 states in Nigeria, plus Abuja 37, only 12 can survive to some extent and still pay salary. When Bokwari became your president in 2015, do you know how many states that were unable to pay salaries despite collecting federal allocation? 24 of them were unable to pay salaries of their workers. When Bokwari came, he gave them bailout twice to go and clear the outstanding debt. Some of them are owing salaries to up to 2 years, 3 years unpaid salaries of workers, pension, you know, those 2-3 years unpaid salaries. Alex Sotti in Abia recently just cleared almost 12 months unpaid salaries, gratuities and all that, just recently. This was a state that was collecting allocation before now. So if you come here to tell me that I'm lying, maybe it's because you are so ignorant. And, you know, ignorant people are very loud as well. You know, some of you are so loud. Abia will survive. Shengbo Wiri. Because Alex Sotti is there. Let them stop that allocation. The only thing that can actually make some of them survive is when you have what is called the true federalism, where the states are allowed to make their own money and pay taxes to the center. And that's exactly not what they are doing. It is not. Out of, what do you call it? Start with internally generated revenue. Abia State, Anambra State, Ebonyi State, Imo State, Enugu State, the 5 of them, they generated just about 60 billion or 70 billion or so. 70 billion naira, 5 states in 1 year. That is far lesser than what Ogun State alone is generating in a year. So you can beat your chest and be like, yeah, we will survive with mouth. You better go and read more in the state of finances, or the state of the economy of all these states in Nigeria. You better read them and not just jump on and say, because you are, you know. Anyway, it's a bit of a distraction though, right? Now, the point here is this. Tinubu's policies, right? As some people are going to possibly brace up for whatever is coming, right? But there are others that do not want to brace up. So they would rather use the same old technique, which is scatter everything, kind of. Because if anything changes from the status quo, as it is obviously going to, they believe that it is going to exterminate them totally, and they are probably going to be like, they are going to be wiped off the what do you call it, the financial arrangement of Nigeria, and they won't let that happen, even though they probably have no much control over that as we speak. The level at which the Nigerians, or let me say the state at which the Nigerians have been pushed to right now, the report is that those of you who are living abroad, the Obidients, who have felt much like, you are under so much pressure from people calling you from Nigeria. You are ignoring their calls, ignoring their text messages, ignoring all of that stuff. No, Edo is put on as, one of the states that will likely survive, but unfortunately, Obaseki has destroyed Edo State. Do you know that when Obaseki was to become their governor 8 years ago, the total debt of Edo State was put at 75 or so billion naira? Do you know the debt of Edo State today? It's over 500 billion naira. That's the debt of Edo State. So the chunk of Edo State money goes into repayment of debt, in case if you need to know. And with this guy that is now your governor in Edo State, you can just imagine what this is going to be like in another 1 or 2 years. You can only imagine it. So Obaseki, and the story is the same almost everywhere. You guys just need to check, you need to check your individual states, right? And see the financial status of your individual states. And then you will realize that somehow, although it may be too late then, right? Tifnumbu's policies and the rest of them is actually not really in your favor if the policy is not about the total fiscal re-engineering, which allows you to earn your own money as each state, earn your own money, or possibly allow you to choose your own leaders that can create wealth that will not depend on the foreign debt or federal allocation. Like the chance to be able to elect or choose your own leaders that knows how to create wealth. In Nigeria, the elite will always be fine. Your state governors will always be fine. Now, the ordinary people, the normal workers, infrastructure in your state that will suffer. Even if they have to give them only 10% of what they used to get from Abuja. The criminal politicians will still spend the money on themselves. They'll still spend it on buying themselves cars. Loot the money. But the ordinary people are the ones that will actually suffer the more. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not as if to say we are in control of what Tifnumbu and his gang can do. We are not. In the way Nigeria is structured, he is going to get away, and whatever he wants, he's going to get. Until when he has no such power. When Bokwari was there, he was like a bull in a Chinese shop. A Chinese shop. They were everywhere. They were looting. They were ransacking everywhere, whatever they could get, until they do not have that power anymore. Now they don't have that power. So until Tifnumbu doesn't have that power anymore, he will do whatever he likes, and the people will pay the price. So it's not as if you have control over it. None of us have any control over it. But you see, for the northern Nigeria that are deluding themselves, especially the clerics who are now screaming betrayer, right? It's not as if they have anything they can do. There is no chance that they can do anything to change their situation. Until probably when they have the chance, like they are planning to drag him out of the asshole rock. But I don't really see that happen. The only thing is that Tifnumbu will rig himself again. And when he finishes rigging himself, there may be riots will break out here and there. But you are more divided now than ever, where the tribal division, religious division have become institutionalized in that contraption. So Tifnubu and his gang will always leverage on that. So if the Northerners or the Hausas and the Fulanis and all, the Northerners generally, whenever they rise up against him, he is expected to be defended by the Ronukus of the South, who easily just say, oh, the North, they are only upset because they're not in power. Sure, you get. So this divisive line will always kind of blur the, the wrong, terrible policies of Tifnubu that has rendered both Northerners and the Southerners poorer. But you see that tribal religious line, will always sort of, blur the reality, the economic ruin of Tifnubu. It is what it is, you will say. And it is really, it is kind of like a fancy to watch and see these guys throwing their tantrums. The clerics, they were threatening people this time last year. I'm sorry, not this time last year, this time 2 years ago. Abi, now don't forget all their gatherings in Kano. All the terrorist groups, Islamic terrorists from northern Nigeria, they gathered in Kano. And they threatened everyone in northern Nigeria. That is, if you are against the Muslim tickets, you are considered to be against Islam. Today, they are full of regrets and they are begging for the way out. They are now threatening the man they threatened all of us for. Imagine they threatened the infidels. Today, they are now threatening the man they threatened everyone for. Tifnubu. And this is just the beginning. You will say. So one idiot, this one that said, there are levels of citizenship in Nigeria. You remember this mofo? In a single day, he tweeted about 4 tweets. The first one was that Tifnubu's policy is to support the poor. The same way they told them removal of subsidy was to support the poor. So the tax reform bill is to support it will benefit them. That same day, the way changed again. So wallahi, I genuinely thought I had understood this tax reform bill. I think this is the second one. He said, oh, the tax reform bill will only bring more hardship to northern Nigeria, just like the subsidy removal did. Reject, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is just so you know that you should be very careful for what you wish for. And in this instance, majority of them are now cutting Peter Obi, unsurprisingly. So yesterday, Peter Obi was in Adamawa, Yola, Adamawa, where Atiku's school, university, was doing a convocation or so. And Peter Obi was their special guest of honor to come and deliver a speech. And as usual, he was there to talk about the economy, the opportunity, the lack of it, and the rest of that in that contraption. And that has triggered a bit of a conversation, in fact, heated conversation between the Atikulooters as well as the Obidients. Now, 2 years ago, the Atikulooters said that they would rather that Tifnubu is declared winner than for Peter Obi to be the president of that contraption. So now that everyone is now feeling because they are like SPV boys, right? These are guys who ordinarily, it's shown that Atiku don't get any real supporters. Whoever is supporting Atiku is doing so because he's either paid or he's promised something. Similarly, so that whoever is supporting Tifnubu, it is either they are paid to do that or they are expecting to be paid to do that. And if they don't get that payment, they are ready to move on. Majority of those who were with Atiku and then attacking the Obidients and all of that. In fact, the Atikulooters and then the Batidiot, they were united against you, the Obidients, remember? In 2022, ahead of that, your charade election. They justified the attacks on the Obidients, the brutalization of the Obidients. The Atikulooters justified that. Because to them, if Atiku couldn't get it, then Tinubu should get it, not Obi. In fact, they used their movement to push their Igbophobia because of this Obi, if you remember. Now, because of Obi and Atiku together yesterday, so they kicked off a new internet bromance where there is like, you know what, let us come together. And now the argument now is Atiku will do one term to save Una, to rescue all of Una from Tinubu. So Atikulooters are saying Atiku will do one term and then he will hand over to Obi. Well, I'm going to take you to Yola first. What did Obi tell them? They have got a lot of them dreaming of Atiku Obi to come and chase Tinubu out. Let's go to that Yola. It's a long speech.
My leader and my dear elder brother, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, GCON, I salute you, sir. While we were driving to this city, event today, I did the sacrifice, the immense sacrifice is put in. Because I'm sure if it was for profit, he wouldn't invest his money here. If it was for profit, he wouldn't even dare go into education. I'm a businessman, so I know where there's profit and where there's not. So I thank you for this sacrifice. The sacrifice is born out of his belief in education. Education remains the biggest tool for development. It's been proved globally, the more educated the country is, the more developed the country is. And nobody has ever been able to say anything otherwise. So I thank you for the decision, and I thank you for the students. I think today, while we're celebrating our family, it is your day. Recently, I came across a little bit of a story where it says, families no longer live together. And I'm interested in that. And what I read, because of the difficult situation we found ourselves in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, families are separated. Families are separated and going to live in different countries where they will not have opportunity of living together. Because even parents now are asking the younger ones to leave to where they will find a better life, considering the difficulties that are here. So on that, I must thank the students of this university and thank their parents that are here. You must congratulate yourself. I know some of you want to jump, but please, I thank you for being here. I look at the cultural diversity. When the president was coming here, he told me every state is represented here, and several countries are represented here. And when I look at this, I look at the future of the country. I look at what impact it will be. You're being trained here to be a leader. And that's what education is all about. Education equips you. It's the only asset, the only currency, the only capital you need for tomorrow. And when you have that, it helps you to do that better and contribute immensely. So for me today, students, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about leadership and lessons for your own future. And I'm speaking to the young ones, not the people on this side, but people on this side.